All right, welcome in to the rant. Now, before we get started, hi, Peter. I see that Peter's the first guy here. Going to be a bit of a different show, if you can't tell. Don't have access to the studio. Locked myself out of the studio. So, what the hell? We're going to do a show anyway. We're just going to do it this way, unless, of course, it becomes a situation that is, well, as the refined might say, untenable. Here's what I need right now before we start, okay? Hi, Taronda. I need you guys to tell me. Hi, Cam. I need you guys to tell me, is the sound tolerable? Because this is what the show is going to be. And I know there's a bit of an echo, and I'm only using the laptop. That's all I have. Hi, April. April's here. So I'm going to wait now. I don't even have my energy drink because I bought a bunch of them and I put them in the fridge in the studio. So just let me know. You guys chime in. I know the sound is different, but is it tolerable? Like, is this going to be okay for one show? April says she can tolerate it. Okay, well, April, pretty cool. I'm looking for the people who are the complainers going, it's okay. There you go. See, it's okay. Tolerable. I apologize, guys. I locked myself out. And there's really no way to do everything that I've got to do. I could have just gone all the way back home and gotten the key that I needed. But then that would have delayed the start of the show, and I got things I got to do at 2:00, and I still got the boy at home. So I'm running around. So we're just going to do it this way, and hopefully this will just be a one-off. Taronda says I'm good with the sound. Ugh. See, the chicks are always the coolest. The girls are always like the coolest about this stuff. All right, so we're just gonna chug ahead forward, okay? All right, appreciate you guys. Thank you for being tolerant of this. Welcome to the rant. I am Pugs Moran, locked outside the E-Gallery studio in the beautiful Dallas Design District. We are the Radio Misfits Dallas. Check us out at radiomisfits.com. Hi, Jen. Jen Hernandez is here. We do this show every Monday through Friday, 12 p.m.-ish, somewhere around there. Did I just call it the high noon show? I may have, because I'm a little bit scrambled. I'm a little bit, out of my comfort zone. Yeah, it's close up me. Byron says, hello, close up Pugs. Come on, everybody, get comfortable in the chat room. We're going to trudge through. And here's the other reason why I really wanted to do the show today. Oh my God, the world is on fire. Oh, there are so many big stories to just chew on and do whatever it is that we do here. So we're going to get to that. The show plays out in 4 quarters. I'll give you that. Do we even need to do this? I always imagine that there's somebody new listening who's like, I'm really interested in how this show is going to play out. 4 quarters. First quarter we call antecedently on this day. That's essentially this day in history. Quarter 2 is birthdays. You know what that is. Quarter 3 is deads. Those are the people who've died. Those are the people who've died. We take a look at folks who've passed away on this day, and we decide they go to heaven or hell. That's how we do that. And then quarter 4 is everything. And boy, let me tell you, folks, everything is happening in the world today. I need a drink, getting a little cotton mouth. How was the weekend? Did you guys have a good weekend? I'll wait. I don't know I don't know why I asked like that. I had a good weekend. Here's why I had a good weekend. You got to understand what a good weekend constitutes for me. A good weekend for me is where I don't have to do anything. A good weekend is where, this is because there is a problem. Okay, I got injured. I got injured on Friday, and I was like laid up Saturday and Sunday. And it's only about this morning that I started to really feel close to being able to do things. What happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. It's the damn dog again. My dog is an idiot. My dog has to wear multiple leashes because one leash is just not enough. She's got a choker collar, which I know is terrible, but that I usually don't even hold that. She usually just drags that. That's for emergencies. Then she's got a regular dog leash around her collar, and then she has to wear a harness. She has to wear a harness like one of those special needs dogs that you always see out there, and they're pulling. That's what she does. So we walk out the front door. I got the dog's leash, the long leash, right here and it's looped around my wrist. I open up the door to the house. We go outside, and she immediately sees a squirrel. Now, I'm not paying attention. So what does she do? She goes, and I got to do it with the other arm because I can't do this demonstration with the arm she actually injured. But I'm walking out the door, and she takes off, and my arm goes like this. My arm goes like boom, popped it right out of the socket, screwed up my shoulder. My kid had to pop it back into the socket. And then, so I thought my shoulder was jacked up. I'm like, oh man, here we go. Messed up shoulder. Couldn't raise my arm. This arm right here, I can get it about this high now, right? As compared to this one that I can get all the way up. This one I can get about this high because it's all sore. I wake up on Saturday morning and my shoulder is jacked up and that hurts, but at least it's okay. I've had that happen before. That's like my shoulder's kind of like got a trick shoulder. So I've had that before. That's going to be fine. But it was my wrist. My wrist was ballooned up. I could not use this hand. Like right now I can use it. Like I can do that. I couldn't do this on Saturday. I couldn't make a fist on Saturday. So I used that as an excuse to just not really have to do anything. And my son and I lied around all day on Saturday, and we watched the Olympics. We watched some Lollapalooza. We didn't watch any movie. He watched a lot of YouTube. Oh, we watched together about 2 hours worth of people getting arrested on YouTube. My son and I love the raw body cam. We're big fans of the YouTube channel Code Blue, and also some guy named Donut. We like Code Blue and some guy named Donut for raw police cam. Those are good channels. So that was our weekend. I was recovering all weekend. By Sunday, I was feeling a little bit better. This morning, I feel really good. I still don't have full mobility of this wrist, but it's all right. Nothing's broke. I think it's a sprain. Actually, let's be honest. I think it's an old man injury. I think my body just went, nope. 95-pound solid muscle dog just decides she's going to bolt. And a truly old person could not walk this dog. I don't even know that a girl could walk this dog. A girl that's, a normal girl. I'm sure that like Ronda Rousey could walk this dog. I don't mean to minimize the ability of girls to walk dogs. Here I go explaining. When you're explaining, you're losing. Watched a lot of Lollapalooza. Did you guys get into that at all? Hi, Jameson. Did you guys get into that at all? Lollapalooza was on Hulu. They're streaming it live over the weekend. And I got to tell you, I know that this is another indication of me being old now. But I'd much rather watch Lollapalooza on TV from the comfort of my house. I'd much rather do that than actually have to be there. I've been there. It's, it's a thing for the younger, I guess. Certainly not me now. It's just, although it was pretty cool. I love the way Hulu does it. And, for years, I'm going to give you another one of my $1 million ideas that, never really came to pass. But years ago, we were working on this project. I had an idea, and I don't know. You're probably going to think this is stupid. I had an idea for live rock concerts on the radio. I thought that you could put live rock concerts on the radio the way you used to in the 1970s, and you could do it. The only way you could do it is really, one of the big major radio companies. So it would have to be like Cumulus, Clear Channel at the time, or CBS Radio at the time. Anyway, my idea was to treat a weekly concert and put it on Sunday nights, the Dead Zones. Treat a weekly concert on the radio the way you would treat a live sporting event on the radio. I wanted to have like play-by-play people for these live concerts. Like, let's go to Madison Square Garden. It's Saturday night here. It's the Foo Fighters live, right? And you have like two dudes. One of the dudes like in the booth would have been like the Joe Buck character, and he would probably be like some famous American rock DJ or rock dude, maybe like an MTV guy or something. Kurt Loder. Yeah, there you go, Kurt Loder. And then the other guy in the booth during the concert commenting and stuff would be the color guy. That's like the guy that used to do it. You know how they always have like the ex-jock? You got Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Troy's the jock. So we need like an ex-rocker. I was thinking David Lee Roth back then. I was thinking that'd be great. Like, could you imagine like David Lee Roth in a booth with another guy and they're watching a concert? Anyway, I'm watching Lollapalooza over the weekend and I'm like, this is exactly what I fucking envisioned. This is why. All right, so now I want like Hulu or Netflix or somebody to just stream a live concert. on Saturday nights. That would be so cool. My son and I watched The Killers on Saturday night, full set, Lollapalooza. It was incredible. It was great. And then last night we watched somebody. Now I'm not what you call. I'm not an electronica guy. Okay. Look, first of all, I was an electronica guy. I was a first gen electronica guy, right? I was like, Nine Inch Nails. I loved The Prodigy. So, I mean, going back to the 90s. But as far as like what electronica has become, the whole the dubstep movement, reggaeton, all of the different subgenres, that's all fine. I never really got into it because I was, one, not as exposed to it, and two, I don't know, a lot of it seemed like noise. Man, I watched this electronica duo last night, me and my son. Have you ever heard of Zed's Dead? I never heard of Zed's Dead. Never heard of him. They had like 100,000 people, and it appears when you're taking like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh great, it's another couple of DJs. It's two DJs in front of 100,000 people. And if you were listening last week on Friday, you heard what I think of this new phenomena where the DJ just draws 100,000 people and he spins records, and they all look at him like he's the rock star. I don't understand it. That's not what I saw last night with this Zed's Dead Sunday night. I watched them over Blink 182. I was like, I don't want to watch Blink 182. I'm going, let's watch this one. And I like Blink 182. Anyway, they were really cool. I thought they were so cool. And they weren't just spinning records, like they were their bit. And I might be an old guy, like if there's like somebody who's really into electronica, you're like, look at the old guy talking about Zed's Dead like they're not globally famous. I don't know. Apparently they are. They were awesome, is all I'm saying. It was two dudes. Apparently they're from Toronto, and their gimmick, which I really enjoyed, seems to be taking a song that already exists that everybody knows from any genre, from opera or whatever, from any genre, and just, I don't know, injecting it with Molly. I'll give you an example. The one that really freaked me out, that I thought was one of the most amazing things Zed's Dead does a remix or whatever they call it of Fleetwood Mac's The Chain. And it is so great. And they use in their stage show, they're using like actual imagery from Fleetwood Mac and from live concerts from them. It was incredible. I can't pretend to be a part of this generation or this new music or whatever, but if you go in open-minded and you just look at what's going on and how it's affecting the kids, you can't help but be like, yeah, man, that's the exact same rock and roll spirit that we all had. Whether it was me in 1993 at a Guns N' Roses concert, maybe you're a little older and it was you at some festival seeing Bad Company in 1978. Hell, even, seeing bands from the 60s. It's that same thing, man. It may not be what we have come to understand as the music of our generation, but it's okay. It doesn't mean it's about the emotion, not the music. And I'm telling you, music is fine. That concert was, the whole festival just looked like this incredible utopian kind of thing. I don't know. I thought it was great. So I don't know if any of you watched anything on the Hulu live stream of Lollapalooza over the weekend, but it was pretty cool. Rob says they are not spinning. They are hitting buttons on a computer. Drives me nuts. Yeah, and it ain't just that, Rob, because they have to program that shit in a studio. They hit a button and it makes a noise. Where did that noise come from? They made that noise. They may have made the noise ahead of time in a studio, but they're still putting it all together live. I give them far more credit than I did on Friday. I have a different understanding of how you can be moved by the art that they are creating, because my mind was blown. I'll tell you another thing that they did. They took, the Sergio Leone Westerns, the Clint Eastwood Westerns. They took that song, Clint Eastwood's theme from those movies. It's the whistle, I think it's, they took that song. That's an actual song. We only know the whistle, but it's a full song. It's orchestrated, beautiful piece of music. Who did that? Somebody famous. It's somebody famous who did that song. Anyway, so they took that song from that movie and they made it into this epic, unbelievable listening and visual experience. I don't know. Look, I'm not supposed to get it. And being angry that you don't get it means that you are giving into the specter of old age. Just admit you don't get it, but go, yeah, I can see it. I get it. Look at these kids. It's obviously resonating with them. So don't be mean and old. Rob, you are too talented of a musician and artist to have that kind of attitude about other people who are simply engaging in a kind of art that you are not familiar with. I'm not familiar with. I just know I can't do it. Peter says, Zed's Dead is great. My 21-year-old grandson turned me on to them. They do a good Gorillaz spin. That seems to be their whole thing, is that they take songs that are already popular and, God damn it, in my opinion, make them better. It was better. That was the best version of Fleetwood Mac's The Chain I had ever heard. And yes, it included bass drops and all kinds but it was cool. It was really cool. It was really interesting. Al says, do they have to pay to use each one of those samples? That's got to be expensive. Oh, I'm certain that they do, but expensive. I mean, what do you mean? Have you ever seen MTV Cribs? I mean, these global, and that's it, they're global. No, we don't hear them on our local radio station, so we don't drive around listening to Zed's Dead. But I mean, kids in Korea and kids in Latvia and kids in Japan and America, this is what they're gravitating towards on the YouTubes and on, the Spotifys and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, there's different ways that people are being engaged with music, and it's no longer regional. It is global. So the money that these electronica groups or these DJs that tour globally are making, yeah, I would tell you that in 2024, I would pound for pound that against anything the Stones or Zeppelin were doing in the 70s. And I'd say we're probably doubling that take in 2024. Because again, it's global. The music is breaking simultaneously globally. Instead of just, well, we got to open up the European market for this Led Zeppelin tour. No. That's not what they got to do anymore. It's just, I don't know, it's a different world. And I had never heard of Zed's Dead. And I looked at about 100,000 kids who were acting like they were seeing the Beatles at Shea Stadium. Okay. Hi, Frankie. Frankie says, hi, Pugs. Rob says, I get it. Music is fluid thing, but it doesn't take much talent. Give me a live band. You can prefer a live band, but I think if you saw what I saw, you'd say, I can't do that. And I don't know if I even trained, I'd be able to do that. And, that's where I come to, it's a talent. It is definitely a talent. It is a talent to be able to hear it. I mean, Rob, what you're essentially saying is that producers have no talent, because that's what they are. They're just live producing. I mean, if that's the musician's attitude towards the producers, but that's kind of like what it sounds like you're saying, because these guys are producers. And that's the other thing that they do, right? They produce for like bands. Like you'll get like these guys, like they might, like, what if they went into the studio and like produced for, a Maroon 5 wants their new album produced by Zed's Dead. That would almost be like, from what I saw Saturday night, Zed's Dead dumbing their shit down. Like going, yeah, we'll work with those kind of still famous Maroon 5. We're fucking global. We are. So I don't know, but they do, because I was reading their Wikipedia page, and they do like all kinds of stuff for people. I don't know. And it's completely, and my son really had no familiarity with it either, because my son is a hip hop kid. My son is not really an electronica kid or anything like that, but I don't know. We'll see. That was our weekend. We had a really good time. Me being hurt. What's best is that I feel good now. So, again, thank you, folks, for putting up with this today. We're locked outside the eGallery studio here in the Dallas Design District. We're doing it from the lobby. I don't have a microphone. This is just me free-balling it as best I can with a laptop. Rob Barr says, there's an app you can grab all these sound bites. All right, well, put them together and then draw 100,000 people. I mean, it sounds like you got it figured out, Rob. So what's stopping you and me from doing it? I don't know. Peter says Zed's Dead is playing a festival in Fort Worth Labor Day weekend. Yeah, like I said, I ain't going. Are they streaming it? See, now we're back to my idea of streaming concerts for us old folks. Are they streaming it? Are you telling me that there isn't a platform? There isn't like a Netflix of concerts where you can just pay a monthly fee and you can stream live concerts from play? Are you telling me that doesn't exist? No takebacks. I invented it. Okay, if it doesn't right now, this is my postage stamp. It is 12/24 on the 5th day of August, year 2024. I'm saying I just invented that concept. Don't steal it from me. All right, let's get started here. It is Pledge Week, guys, and it is not going well. I would like to thank one person, though, in particular. Thank you so much to, and we're bringing it back today. The executive producer of today's show is April. April tipped twice. Thank you, April. That was very nice. This morning, you wake up and she had a request. She has a request on a story, and so she tipped the $10. I'm like, Jesus, okay, we can do that. We can do stories for $10. We're gonna extend Pledge Week until Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. We'll see. But there you go. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see how you can contribute if you want to help support this kind of nonpartisan current events stream of consciousness talk that we've been doing here for 3 years. That would be fantastic. There you go. I'll put that up for you right now. What do you say we get started? Thank you to April. And thank you to Jenna. And thank you to who did I miss? Probably Peter. I know Byron was in there. Mikey D. Thank you to everybody who has helped thus far. But we are not even close. All right, let's get started today. Today is the noon rant. I didn't call it the high noon rant. I caught myself. I shouldn't even call it the noon rant. It's the rant. Oh, April says no. The $10 request was so that I would wear eyeliner. All right, guess I'm wearing eyeliner tomorrow. Where am I going to find fucking eyeliner? April, what does eyeliner cost? I got to go buy eyeliner now? That's coming out of your tip. Your credit for that. Maybe just one eye, maybe. Yeah. All right. Jeff Ballard suggested I wear eyeliner. We'll get to that. That's a story we're going to talk about. There are 2 stories that are now trending on this day as being big stories, big talking points. 2 of them that actually 3, if you want to be honest, but 2 of them that yours truly has been saying. I've just been screaming into a vacuum these things, and now people are like, hey, did you guys notice? And I'm like, yeah, we did on the rant. We noticed right here on the damn rant. We'll get to those. All right, but let's get started. It is the rant for the 5th day of August, year of our Lord 2024. It is the 218th day of the year. There's 148 more of these remaining until the end of the year. You may notice me looking down today because I don't have my normal setup, so I'm a little bit out of sorts. All right, let's get started. Quarter 1, we call this antecedently on this day. This is a look back at all of the things that have helped shape our understanding of this particular day in history. Previously on August the 5th, if you will. On this day, in 1620, the Mayflower departs from Southampton, England, carrying would-be settlers on its first attempt to reach North America. It's forced to dock in Dartmouth when its companion ship, the Speedwell, springs a leak. Did you know this? Did you know that, okay, so in this country, if you are a descendant of Mayflower people, you're super famous. Like, not super famous, like you can't walk down the street, but I mean, like, there's a society. There's like a super sophisticated and rich people society called the Mayflower Society. And all these people, they all get together and they're like, we're the first ones, you know. And then someone who's probably serving dinner is probably goes, yeah, we were here first. Person of color. But yeah, no, the Mayflower is a big deal. But did you know that there was another boat called the Speedwell? One of these people. Did they ever get here? Did the Speedwell show up second? It's like the Mayflower Society has their annual gala at the Waldorf Astoria, and like the Speedwell are like down the block at a Chili's or something. Speedwell, I don't know if it ever got here or not. I don't know. Here's another thing. Mayflower. I tried to think. Last night I was thinking about this. I don't know why. It wasn't about the Mayflower. It was actually about the Titanic. Name a famous boat. Go. Aren't those the only two you come up with? Mayflower and Titanic? I mean, maybe if you take a beat, you'll say Lusitania. Or, you might be like, oh, Nina Pinta Santa Maria. But famous boat. I got to say, the two most famous boats ever are the Titanic and the Mayflower. All right, moving on. Antecedently on this day in 1882, Standard Oil Company is founded. Standard Oil Company, founded in New Jersey, would go on to be the most powerful and biggest company in the world for a number of years. Let's see, what else? It's now ExxonMobil. On this day in 1882, John David Rockefeller started Standard Oil, right? I was saying, yeah, Rockefeller, Standard Oil. Carnegie is steel. JP Morgan is Wall Street. Okay. Moving on. What did the Vanderbilts do? Shipping and train. I think shipping originally, and then I think it was trains after that. Yeah, I like to know where these robber barons that we still carry water for, I like to know where their origin story is. On this day in 1926, antecedently, Harry Houdini performs his greatest feat. He spent 91 minutes underwater in a sealed tank before escaping. There was oxygen. He had some kind of 91 minutes, Harry Houdini. I bet you by today's standards, I bet you by what we understand today about things, like Houdini wouldn't be impressive at all. I think we'd be like, we can see how you do that. We're not idiots from what year? We're not idiots from 1926. It's 2024. It's 100 years later. We can see the chords. Anyway, Harry Houdini did something big on this day, 1926. On this day, antecedently in 1962, Nelson Mandela is jailed. He wouldn't be released until 1990. Boy, I'll tell you, oh, wow. Also on this day in 1962. So check this out. Marilyn Monroe died. She died from an overdose. She was found in her home. Marilyn Monroe died on this day in 1962. But also on this day, Nelson Mandela went to jail. I bet nobody knew Nelson. When Nelson Mandela went to jail in 1962, this was not a news story. This is only a news story because of, who he became and who he, throughout his time in prison, the stories and all that he grew. But when he first got arrested, he was just like some dude they arrested. Troublemaker. What I mean is he was a leader, but he wasn't like anybody knew in the world. He was just like a neighborhood trouble guy. It was like, hey, let's put him in jail. He's talking about stuff. So they put him in jail. And then by 1990, he was like huge. He was Nelson Mandela. Anyway, those two things happened on the same day. Marilyn Monroe died, and Nelson Mandela was put in prison. Antecedently on this day in 1981, Ronald Reagan fired all the air traffic controllers. You remember that? So the air traffic, I'm going to nutshell this for you. I don't know if you know this, how I feel about Reagan. By actual modern standards, I like Reagan more than I did. But Reagan, I was never a Reagan guy. I always thought that Reagan was, God. But he did do some things right. And I'll tell you, firing of the air traffic controllers, this is a very polarizing concept. But I am a union guy. I come from a union part of the country where I've seen the power of the union. I've seen unions be able to, have middle-class families put 3 kids through college and even go on vacations and stuff. I know what unions can do when they are running the best interest of the people, the workers, right? So a lot of union people were against this when Reagan fired the air traffic controllers. Why? They went on strike. The air traffic controllers in the United States at all the airports, DFW, O'Hare, whatever, they went on strike. They wanted something probably important. But yeah, no matter how much I believe in unions, I do believe that there are certain jobs that can't go on strike. And I think that air traffic controllers and what their job meant to the economy, the global economy really, but our national economy, it was a national security issue for me. We had to keep the planes in the air. We had to keep business flowing. We couldn't allow one group of workers, and I know this sounds very anti-union, but I do think you need to be distinctive here. You need to be selective in these unions. Can garbage guys go on strike? Yeah, they can. I mean, it's going to be awful, but they can. Can Teamsters? This is another one. I don't think Teamsters are the same thing as air traffic controllers. Air traffic controllers. So Reagan fired him. Reagan drew a line in the sand, and he said, look, I'm going to fire you. I'm going to replace you with military air traffic controllers until we can train new people. And he did, and it was one of the things that he is most criticized for by people on the right and the left of the time. But I always thought that was a real ballsy move. And I always thought, yeah, don't fuck around with the air traffic controllers. Although, I was always really afraid of planes crashing. So anyway, on this day in 1981, that's going to do it for all the things. Not a real eventful day. Let's go to birthdays. People who were born on this day. Let's talk about them. Born on this day in 1937, Herb Brooks. Fine American Herb Brooks. You know who Herb Brooks is? He was the, Kurt Russell played him in Miracle on Ice. He was the head coach of the 1980 Olympic men's hockey team. He was a hockey coach. So he probably wasn't a good guy. I'm just saying, a 1970s hockey coach. Anyway, Herb Brooks, born on this day in 1937. I know that he's an American legend because, he's Herb Brooks of the U.S. Miracle on Ice team. But I'm just saying. I don't have enough to go on. But in my head, I'm like, man, wasn't there stories about him? Wasn't there stories about him maybe being a bit of a disappointment? I don't know. He died in a car accident. It was terrible, right? He died young. Car accident, I think. Was he drinking? I don't know. You'd have to look that up. I'm not sure. I'm just saying. Anyway, he gave us a great moment. So let's not shit on Herb Brooks, huh? Herb Brooks, born on this day in 1937. Born on this day in 1945. She dead? No, she's still alive. All right, we need to look at her. Hold on. I didn't even think of this. I need to pull this up. We need to look at, she's not dead. She's still alive. Oh, wow. When you put her name into Google, it's like she's like the only one ever with this name. First name, I should be clear. Like when you put her first name in. Let's see what she's looking like now, or at least these days. Okay, I don't know what that is. All right, are you ready? Born on this day, ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday to Lonnie Anderson. Lonnie Anderson, look at her, there she is. All right. Lonnie Anderson was quite the thing, right? 1970s, late 1970s. She was like the she first we saw her on WKRP in Cincinnati. She played Jennifer. Jennifer? Yeah, she played Jennifer Marlowe, I believe was her name. She was the receptionist at the radio station WKRP, and I would go on just a few years later, start working at radio stations, and I can tell you, there was never a Jennifer in the lobby at the radio station. That was not a thing. The receptionist, you want to know the receptionist at every radio station? Oh, look at that. There you go. There's peak 1970s, no aerobics, no silicone body. That's a female body. That is a banging 10 body from 1976. I call it the pre-aerobicized era because seriously, if you look at bodies in the 80s, started to take on this, what they would call hard bodies. This is not a hard body. I'll tell you, maybe it's because I was raised in that era. I'm a little partial to this body. There she is. Look at her. I don't know. She, Lonnie Anderson, was never, I mean, look, I knew that she was something like, but she was like, I would compare Lonnie Anderson, like I'm a kid. So I would like look at her and I'm like, man, she's hot in one way. But then I'd look at like Farrah Fawcett and Jacqueline Smith. Jacqueline Smith was in Wonder Woman. Jacqueline Smith and Linda Carter. They were like the two, I guess I like brunettes maybe, but they were like the two that I just, from the very beginning, what up, James? They were like the two that from the very beginning were live from the lobby. They were the two from the beginning, I think, that I still, all these years later, think of most fondly. But anyway, Lonnie Anderson is having a birthday. She like, didn't you think her boobs were a lot bigger? Like now when I look at pictures of Lonnie Anderson, the ones we just saw, her boobs, back in WKRP in Cincinnati days, she was always wearing the tight sweaters and it always looked like Kojak in the chat room. Hey, Kojak, what's happening? Kojak chiming in. He liked Meg Ryan. Yeah, who didn't like Meg Ryan? You know what? Liking Meg Ryan, calling out Meg Ryan, that says something about you, Kojak. You know what that says? That says that you don't waste your time on the, like, you don't waste your time on the Lonnie Andersons. You go for the Meg Ryans. Meg Ryan was beautiful by any, but when you put her next to like other like 80s chicks, you're like, oh, she's the cute one. She's the adorable one. So that's good. I like that. I like guys who go for cute. I sometimes go for cute over banging, but I'm such a narcissist that it's like, no, I gotta have the one that's banging is gonna look better. That's how men think. Also, I got another very complicated observation about Lollapalooza and the way girls today dress. But knowing full well that I am a man of this age, I probably shouldn't share those thoughts so publicly. So we'll just keep them with my son. My son and I'm with a 15-year-old boy. We're watching Lollapalooza streaming. And I don't know if you know, I don't know if this is a part of, your awareness, but girls of this generation, when they attend a festival, it's like a crazy fashion show now. It's like they all try to be weirder and crazier. And the girls at Lollapalooza, and I'm just going to hope that I was, these are girls in their 20s, college girls. Let's just say that. A lot of sparkles, saw some angel wings. Oh, I'll tell you what my son and my favorite outfit was, and we saw it 3 times in the crowd that girls were wearing. Also, pigtails seem to be very popular this year, pigtails. But our favorite outfit was, and we saw this a couple of different ways. We saw it most prominently with Chicago Bull Michael Jordan jerseys. But I saw Kobe, and my kid said he saw a Maverick. We couldn't tell who it was. It was probably Luka. But girls at this festival were wearing basketball jerseys, but that's it. Like nothing else but a basketball jersey. And like they alter it and cut it so it's really, I don't know. It was quite a thing. It's a fashion thing. And we're looking at it and I'm like, man, that's hot. And my son's like, Dad, it's weird when you say that. I go, look, I'm just trying to make sure you're not gay. And he's like, what if I was? I go, I would still love you and it wouldn't matter, but I'd have to have a conversation with you about grandchildren. That's all. We have to figure something out about grandchildren. But I don't care if you're gay. My kid always says, Dad, you're freaking me out. And my stock response is, I'm just trying to make sure you're not gay. Or, and then I go into if you were gay, that's totally fine. I'm just of the understanding that you're not. So just checking in, son. He is pretty straight, though. I mean, that's clear. All right, so there you go. Happy birthday, Lonnie Anderson. I don't know how we got off on because Lonnie Anderson was hot, and I was talking about girls today, how they're hot, and how Lollapalooza fashion. There's a lot of basketball jersey fashion now with festival girls, and it was very cool. Born on this day in 1956, Kojak. I need Kojak to check in on this one because this is more like me and Kojak's generation. Kojak, Marcia Brady. What'd you think? Marcia Brady or Lori Partridge, right? Wasn't that the question? Marcia Brady, Maureen McCormick, born on this day in 1956. Maureen McCormick, Marcia Brady. I personally never really thought much of Maureen McCormick, Marcia Brady. I wasn't really into. As a matter of fact, I can tell you that I didn't look twice. All right, Doug Kojak says no to Marcia Brady. Okay, I was with you, but I know guys that really liked Marcia Brady. They're like, Marcia Brady, dude, man, for my money, I'm watching the Partridge Family. Did you see Lori Partridge, Susan Day? Susan Day versus Maureen McCormick? Get out of here. But again, maybe me being partial to brunettes is showing again. Born on this day in 1956, Marcia Brady, Maureen McCormick. Boy, talk about being Gilligan. We talk about that, actors who get Gilligan. Marcia Brady got Gilligan. Maureen McCormick is just Marcia Brady, no matter what she does. Born on this day in 1956. Born on this day in 1962, Patrick Ewing. Oh, my God. Remember that guy? You know what the gross? He was gross. He was like a gigantic, gross NBA player. And you know why he was gross? Do you remember this? You people who remember the East back then, the NBA East. Patrick Ewing seemed to sweat more than anybody you've ever seen in your life. Patrick Ewing look, he's one of the greats of all time. And also, let me say this about Patrick Ewing. He is not only one of the greats of all time, but he's like totally forgotten. He's like totally, because he didn't win a championship and he didn't play at the Lakers. I don't think Patrick Ewing gets the love that he deserves. Anyway, moving on. He sweat. Oh, God, could he sweat. And first time I noticed how he was sweating back with Georgetown. Remember in the NCAAs when Patrick Ewing burst onto the scene as like the next great thing? And he was. That's good. That's cool about Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing came out of the college ranks as like this generational guy, and he was. Doesn't happen all the time. Shaq was. It happened with Shaq. Yeah. Zion, we're waiting. Zion was supposed to be that guy. Anthony Davis, he was like, also, he's going to be that guy. I don't know. Not really. All right, moving on. Patrick Ewing, born on this day in 1962. Born on this day in 1970. James Gunn. Do I like James Gunn or do I not like James Gunn? I'm not even sure. I don't even know. I know he's a movie guy. He's one of these Marvel. Is he Marvel or is he DC? I don't even know. There's like 4 dudes whose names are always like, oh, I want the Snyder cut. Like Zack Snyder and James Gunn, and they're all until one of them truly steps up and like distinguishes themselves from the rest. And maybe somebody has, but it ain't clear to me. And it's not like I ain't seen all of those movies. The director, for me, has not stood out in anything other than that Zack Snyder Justice League thing. Remember a couple of years ago now, I think it is, Zack Snyder recut Justice League and made it like 3 hours long. I'm sorry, I love that movie. I think that more recent cut of that is a really good movie. At the end, where it's like Superman is there, and I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. James Gunn, he's apparently a big deal in this world. I'm a Paul Thomas Anderson guy, I'm a Richard Linklater guy. I'm a Kubrick guy. Forgive me for not really knowing the ins and outs of the Zack Snyder's, James Gunn's. Who else? No, I'm not going to put Nolan in there, although he did do probably one of the finest superhero films, The Dark Knight. Anyway, moving on. Happy birthday to James Gunn. Born on this day in 1970. Why are we out of order? We're out of order. Why are we out of order? 1959, Pete Burns. Pete Burns was born. 1959. Pete Burns is dead or alive. You spin me right round. Oh, and he's dead. Look at that, baby, right round. He died in 2016. Pete Burns, dead or alive. You ever seen that video? You ever seen Dead or Alive? You ever seen how Pete Burns was walking these streets back in 1984? Whew! He looked like he's straight out of RuPaul's Drag Race. And we didn't even really notice Dead or Alive because we were all focusing on Boy George. Moving on. Born on this day in 1959, Pete Burns. Born on this day also in 1959. How about Pat Schmier? Pat Schmier. What do we go to first with Pat Schmier? Do we go he's a Foo Fighter? But for some of us, we remember him when he was in Hole, and we remember him in Nirvana, and we remember him with Red Hot Chili Peppers. Pat Schmier has been like the go-to guitar guy for any band that has been big between 1990 and like 2005. He is truly a well-regarded guy who has been in a lot of really big bands and never been the star of any of them. Pat Schmier, born on this day in 1959. Born on this day in 1964. Oh, my God. Pour one out for Adam Yauch, Beastie Boy. Oh, God. Did you guys see the Beastie Boys documentary? I believe it's on Apple TV. It's tremendous. It is tremendous. And it is such a unique way of presenting a documentary. The Beastie Boys documentary on Apple TV it's filmed live at some theater in New York, and it's got a full crowd of people, and it's a stage, like you're seeing a Broadway play or something, except that it's the 2 remaining Beasties. It's Mike D and Adam Yauch, Mike D and Adam, the other Adam, whatever. It's the other Adam. It's the living Adam, and it's Mike D, Mike Diamond. And they come out on stage with microphones, and they just start telling stories about the history of the Beastie Boys. Now, it's not just them on stage telling stories, because as they start to tell stories, it dissolves into a regular documentary where you're seeing archival footage and you're seeing video from back in the day. And then it weaves back to the live show where they're interacting with the audience. And then they go to, it's so well done. So well done. It's on Apple TV. It's the Beastie Boys documentary. I highly recommend you see it if you love the Beastie Boys. Born on this day in 1964, the late, great Adam Yauch. Born on this day in 1982, happy birthday, Lolo Jones. Lolo Jones. Lolo Jones was a runner. She was a sprinter. Didn't she? She only got like one Olympics, right? There was only like one Olympics. Whoa, wait a second. She was the virgin, right? Wasn't that her thing? It's all coming back to me now. Unlike the female hymen, no, is she still a virgin? Of course not. It's stupid. We're going back like 20 years. She was only a big deal because she was, one, good at the running fast. She was a good fast runner. Two, she was like kind of hot, right? Wasn't that Lolo Jones's thing? It was like, she's kind of hot. And then the story came out that she's a virgin. And then we all remembered that she's a virgin because we can't forget that she's kind of hot. Like, how is that? Anyway, she was a young athlete. She's probably like 22 years old. And the whole world is like, can you believe she's a virgin? Yeah, she's been waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day to run like 50 miles. She probably doesn't have a lot of time to date. She's an Olympic athlete, for crying out loud. Anyway, Lolo Jones, born on this day in 1982. She's, it says hurdler. I guess that's what she does. I don't even remember. Did she win anything? Or was it just that she's hot and a virgin? That's probably all it took. That's probably all NBC was going with. She's hot and she's a virgin. Is she fast? Like, was she like Danica Patrick? Like, Danica Patrick became a star because she was hot. That's it. She was hot. Take the helmet off, let the hair go down. She's hot. She was a competent driver, but if she wasn't hot, she probably wouldn't have been elevated to the level where she was. She probably wouldn't be racing with those people if she was not hot, you know. Anyway, is that what happened with Lolo Jones? Did she win anything? I don't know. Moving on. All right, that's it for birthdays. Let's talk about people who died. These are people who have died on this day. Let's decide if they went to heaven or hell. Dead on this day in 1984, Richard Burton. Richard Burton was a great actor, I guess. I don't know. I think I saw the Days of Wine and Roses. I saw like one Richard. I can't even. Anyway, old folks will tell you he was one of the greats. Okay, here's what I know. He was married to Elizabeth Taylor like 10 times. Okay, that's probably not the proper number. 3 times, 4 times, whatever. I don't know. They were like they had a crazy relationship. You know, God, I don't want to say this. Never mind. We're going to move on. All right, there you go. Richard Burton. He completely went to hell. We know he went to hell. He was a drinker. He was a troublemaker. He was probably a real charming guy, but a rogue, and a guy that probably got away with a whole bunch of really awful shit because he was Richard Burton. So we're putting him in hell. Dead on this day in 1991, Paul Brown. Paul Brown, he's going to hell. You know, we have some rules. Football coaches go to hell, and one of the first football coaches definitely goes to hell. Paul Brown was born on this day in 1908, or not on this day. He was born in 1908. He died on this day in 1991. He is the reason the Cleveland Browns are called the Browns. He is the Brown of the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are not named after a color. They are named after the founder of the team and the first head coach and a legendary NFL guy. The Brown family, I'll say this is very interesting. You know, we have all of these, there's a number of families in the NFL who are sort of the exalted ones. They're the founding families, and they're given all kinds of, you know, accordances at league meetings and all of that kind of stuff that other people don't get. I mean, don't get it wrong. Jerry Jones is probably still the guy swinging the biggest hammer, but when Jerry Jones wants to do something, he's got to get it past the Hallis McCaskies, the Maras, and the Rooneys. That's the Chicago Bears, New York Giants, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, the Fords. I forgot about the Fords. The Fords in Detroit. We forget about them. They're the families. They're like the families whose legacy goes all the way back. Paul Brown is the only one of those founding families that we could call in the NFL to be the founder of 2 NFL teams. Paul Brown founded 2 NFL teams. He founded the Cleveland Browns. And then once he started winning championships with them, he sold to some business interests and he became a minority owner. And then he was forced out unceremoniously. You know, when the business guys get together, Paul Brown, the team the goddamn Cleveland Browns are named for, was forced out of Cleveland. Guess what he did? He jumped in his car and went to Cincinnati and founded the Bengals. The Brown family still own the Cincinnati Bengals. So, Paul Brown, you're going to hell, but I love football, and you're quite the character from its history. Dead on this day in 2000, Sir Alec Guinness. We're putting him in heaven. Putting him in heaven because he's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And you can't be a person from my demographic, my generation, and not immediately think that Obi-Wan Kenobi deserves to go to heaven. So Alec Guinness, he is Obi-Wan, right? There are 3 old-time British actors that were the 3 old-time British actors when I was little, and they're all kind of the same. Like, I can't tell the difference between Laurence Olivier, Sir Alec Guinness, and John Gielgud. One was Arthur's butler, one was the dude who pulled Dustin Hoffman's teeth in Marathon Man, and one was Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm pretty sure Sir Alec Guinness was Obi-Wan Kenobi. All right, that's going to do it for the first 3 quarters of today's show. I would like to remind you that we run on your gratuities. Thank you so much for all the help you've given us here these past 3 years. If you want to drop a little something, we are in a pledge week. We do have a definite amount of money that we need to raise in order to keep this show on the air. It is a very small number, and the fact that I struggle so much to get to this number every month is really draining, but that's okay. We're going to leave that up. Thank you as well to our executive producer of today's show, the lovely April. She's always there. She always steps up. Appreciate you. I don't mean to distinguish her from others. It's just she's such a regular, so I appreciate that. She is the executive producer of today's show. Okay, thank you to April. All right, now let's get into all the things that are happening. By the way, Frank says Bailey was better. Okay, we were talking about Lonnie Anderson. It's Lonnie Anderson's birthday. And that really is, you know what? Thank you, Frankie B. Frankie B just came up with another one of these Ginger or Marianne things, right? So it's like that's always the question, Ginger or Marianne. I also said Marsha Brady or Susan Day. That's another great one. Jennifer Marlowe from WKRP in Cincinnati or Bailey Quarters from WKRP in Cincinnati. Do you know, Frank, that I am with you? I would also rather have had. See, but is this because it's the way we look at it? I think there are 2 kinds of guys. I think that when you present to a guy we'll use the one we're doing. Lonnie Anderson from WKRP in Cincinnati or Bailey Quarters, I think her name was Jan something, from WKRP in Cincinnati. You're talking about 2 different kinds of guys and how they look at it. Like one guy might hear that and go, okay, which one am I going to bang? And then like another guy will be like, okay, which one am I going to like hang out with and be in a relationship with? I'm the kind of guy who looks at that and I don't know, for some reason, I just instinctively go, which one do I want to be my girlfriend? And I would completely go down on the side of Bailey Quarters. Only because you know how hard it would be to be Jennifer Marlowe's boyfriend? I mean, the whole point of her existence in that show was that so every guy could hit on her. So that every guy, oh my God, you'd be playing defense your entire life dating a girl like that. Ugh. All right. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the stuff that's happening in the actual world today. So let me just update this because I don't know if you've checked out Wall Street, but my goodness, folks, some bad stuff happening on Wall Street today. Second day in a row. We are currently down 935 points. This is a reaction or a settling, as they say. They always speak so calmly about this. This is just a settling in reaction to the jobs numbers that came out last week and the Fed's seeming reluctance to make any major changes. It's all fine. Meanwhile, like Tokyo's on fire. You seen what happened in Japan? Japan's market took the single biggest day loss last night in its history. It just went, so it's like their Black Monday. I don't know that we were prepared for this. I think we were all very distracted by Lollapalooza in the Olympics, or at least I was, because had I been thinking about it, I'd have known that Monday, and most people in the market, is that why it dropped so much? Because after you have a bad Friday, people all sit on pins and needles for the weekend, waiting for the market to open on Monday so that they can either pull all their money out because they think whatever. And I told you last week about how this is not hurting the big fish. The big fish are like, we can The big fish can survive a complete market collapse at this point. They have contingency for that. The people who are getting burned right now are the richest guys you and me know. And I say that because we don't know the billionaires, right? I think that when you're a middle class, working class, regular folk, the way most of us are, I think that we know about the variances between us and the lower middle class and how, they're a little bit lower than us because they've got a house in that part of town. But I think we lose focus when it gets into the rich stuff, because the richest guy that most of us know is probably a dude with a couple $1 million, $3 million, maybe. Like where I live, I don't know the billionaires where I live, but there are billionaires in Highland Park. And they're all behind their giant gates and all that stuff. But I know the other rich people, like the people who are maybe the billionaire's lawyer or the billionaire's accountant. I know those are rich people in their own right. But those are rich people in like the 10, 15, maybe 20 million range. And they have stupid money. Stupid money. Like $20 million is stupid money. Those are the people who are really taking it. The people who have like 5 billion, they're fine. They're absolutely fine. And do we really recognize the difference between the richest guy we know, who's maybe got 10 million, and the Sackler family, who's at like 10 billion, right? Dude, that difference is not close. But I sometimes look at that because I don't have any comprehension of what that kind of money is. I think, well, he's rich and he's rich. They're the same thing. No, that rich guy flies private, but he leases the plane. That dude owns a company that owns 3 of the world's largest airlines, right? That's the difference. So the super rich aren't getting hurt by this. It's just the middle class. It's the people who got in heavy. I'm retired and I'm just going to get into the stock market heavy now, and I'm going to have a nice 25, 30 years rest of my. Those are the people who are getting hurt. Those people are getting hurt. And also, dumb rich guys who aren't real rich guys. But it's fucked up, man. Excuse my language. I promised over the weekend myself, I said I was going to stop swearing. I think that I should be able to swear when it's appropriate, but I shouldn't be able to swear for effect, right? Like that was for effect the way I just did it there. All right, let's check it again. Let's see. We were at 935 just a couple of seconds ago. Where are we at now? 978. We're at minus 978. We were over minus 1,000. We had lost. We're at 38,000 now at the market. 38 cumulatively 38,759. Now, remember, we were up over 40. Remember when we went up over 40 and we were like, this is crazy. It's raining gold bars. We were up over 40. So we're at 38. We are crashing. We're at 38. You know what 38 would have been 2 years ago? 38 would have been the greatest day in stock market history. But it's not anymore because we went to 40. So my point is this. Yeah, it's bad. A lot of people are taking the biggest hits of the people who got in to the market, more recently. This is and they're taking hits based on what they bought in when it was high, and now they're getting crushed. But the people who have been in, the rich, the super rich, they're fine. 38,000. I always go back to this. This is how I put it into my head. I go back to during the mortgage crisis when we were really in bad shape, when the stock market was absolutely in a bad place. And I remember seeing an expert. I don't know what it was. It was some guy, I know the name, I just can't remember it, but it was some guy who was a very important guy in the finance world. And he was asked directly, when will you be comfortable that the market is back and everything is fine? And he answered directly. He said, once we get around 12,000 consistently, once we can hover around 12,000, the market will be back. That was back in 2008. If we could just get around 12,000, everything will be fine. We're at 38,000 today, okay? So what, were there no rich guys back in 2008? No, there were rich guys, and there were rich guys who were rich off of a market that was at 8,000 at the time, hoping to get it up to 12, 13, 14 maybe. We're at 38 now. So no matter what's happening, they could drop 10,000 points, and it would still be at 28,000. It would still be 20,000 higher cumulative investment. That's the number. I don't know how to explain it. because I'm stupid, but we were over 40. 40 is unheard of. You knew it had to come down. That's what's happening. It's coming down. And the only people who are being hurt are the people who like a year ago went, I need to get into the market now and buy it. And now you're dropping. Now you're losing your ass. This has been really bad economics talk with a guy who knows absolutely nothing about money. All I can tell you is if you want really hardcore Dow Jones stuff, don't be watching this. Go. It's happening right now. It's bad. Shit's hitting the fan. All right, that's big story number one. Big story number two, Hurricane Debbie, or is it Tropical Storm Debbie now? Did this happen? Because all weekend long, I'm being told let's see what's happening with Hurricane Debbie. Did it hit Florida and nobody cares because there's so much other stuff going on? Let me see. What is the latest? It's okay. So there's some flooding. All right, so here we go. Let me give you the updates on Tropical Storm Debbie. Yes, it's been downgraded. This reminds me of that old Onion bit. Wait here. I'd rather watch that than learn about this. Oh, I just realized I don't know how the sound is going to work. I don't know if the sound is. Oh, this will be a good thing to try it out. Let's try this out. All right, here. So all weekend long, we've been dealing with Tropical Debbie. Florida's been dealing with it anyway. All right, never mind. I don't think the sound is going to work. Yikes, guys. I had some stuff I wanted to do with sound today. Sound's not going to work. All right, let's see here. Here's an update from 3 minutes ago. A second person has died in Debbie after a tractor trailer plunged off a bridge on a storm-slickened highway. Okay, it's the second death blamed on severe weather condition from Debbie. Okay, so it's not going to be this horrible sort of. I hope not. I don't know, guys. I'm working at a deficit today. I'm working at a deficit today because we're out here in the lobby of the e-gallery. I locked myself out. It is now open. We're open, and we could go into the studio, but I'd have to stop the show. So I figure we're already going. Let's keep rolling, right? Iran and Israel. Here's the other thing. Okay, so we got big story number one. The Dow is collapsing. Big story number two. Is Florida still there? I don't know. There was a hurricane coming. Big story number three could be the most important one. Iran versus Israel versus Hezbollah versus Hamas. This is, they've been waiting for 24 hours now. I mean, this guy that I love, this guy, Steve Lookner, I don't know if you guys follow him. You absolutely should. Agenda Free TV. He does breaking news better than anybody anywhere doing breaking news. Agenda Free TV. Follow him on YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff. It's great. He's terrific. He is unbelievable at what he does. He's been going live like for 10 hours at a time, just streaming with a shot of the Israeli-Lebanon border with just a static shot, just like, yeah, we're waiting for the war to start. Here's what we know, right? So this all stems from a couple weekends ago when Hezbollah fired some Iranian-made missiles into a soccer field in Israel, killing a bunch of Israeli kids. Israel took a couple of days, and then they retaliated by killing the political leader of Hezbollah, or was it Hamas? Hamas. Let's say Hamas, even though the rocket was fired by Hezbollah using Iranian weapons. See how complicated it is? Okay. So they retaliate, Israel does, for the soccer field slaughter. They retaliate by blowing up a mansion somewhere in Iran. Inside this mansion was the political leader of Hamas, the guy who puts on a suit and demands to be taken seriously like a statesman, and everybody else laughs. Like, you're not a recognized political organization. You're a terror group. Take the fucking suit off. Nobody's taking you serious. That guy got killed. That guy was blown up in retaliation for the soccer field massacre by Israeli missiles. Problem with that is that dude was inside Iran. And there has been this line in the sand that Iran hasn't crossed and Israel hasn't crossed. Theoretically, you don't attack one another. Sovereign nation of Iran does not attack the sovereign nation of Israel and vice versa, because once they do, both are compelled to act in a state of war. And that's what we're trying to avoid. So Iran for years have been getting cute. So Iran has been selling their missiles, and they've been giving their strategies and their military guidance and advisors and all that stuff to terror organizations who do the dirty work for Iran. And that's where we are now. Israel is done with this bullshit. Israel is done with all of these Iranian missiles coming from Hamas and Iranian missiles coming from Hezbollah. And that's what the whole world is waiting for. What is going to happen next? After Iran destroyed the home in Iran and killed the political leader of Hamas, the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khomeini, I always like to stress the pronunciation, Ayatollah Khomeini, not to be confused with the guy he replaced, Ayatollah Khomeini. A little different, looks the same. They got the same thing. They wear the same swag and they got the same beard. Anyway, the supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini, he vowed immediate and immense retaliation. Now that's bad, because that dude typically doesn't speak like that. Like, that dude would typically be a little, I mean, he might say that to his clerics and stuff, but he doesn't go on the world stage as the supreme leader of Muslim Iran and say that the Jews must die. So that's a big, scary thing. Usually that kind of rhetoric would come from the political wing of the Iranian party. The president of Iran does that kind of stuff. So it is really concerning to the world that the crazy supernatural magic leader of the country is going war, right? Because that guy doesn't really have the same view of things as maybe the political guy who is trying desperately to stop this from turning into an all-out nuclear bloodbath, which is what the whole world is waiting for. So that is happening in Iran. Let me just do something really quick. Let me check something. Ah, boy. Nope, still. All right, so the latest headlines: Israel braces for Iranian attack that could come within hours. So we're waiting on that. Tehran, that's Iran. Tehran, why did I feel that? You people know where Tehran is. Tehran warns pilots to avoid Israeli airspace. Well, that sounds like a good rule of thumb in general. Pentagon deploys ships to the region. Okay. Biden heading to the Situation Room. Okay. I'm trying not to make old man Joe Biden jokes anymore. I'm trying to just be like, okay, he's done. We can be done with him. But Joe, let's see. Apparently Biden and Bibi got into a pretty aggressive conversation. Biden scolds Bibi in hostage talk. Quote, "Stop bullshitting me." Okay. Travelers are leaving Lebanon. Okay, there you go. Those are the headlines. So we're looking for that. The world could end at any point today, or at least the beginning of the end could happen at any point today. All right, we've covered the Dow Jones is tanking. Economic turmoil here, not only here, but around the globe. We've talked about the Iran-Israel war. We talked about Hurricane Debbie. You guys, are you watching what's happening in England? Holy shit, there are these. Actually, I don't know what's happening this morning in England because I didn't get to watch my normal Sky News in the morning. There are riots breaking out all over England, and this is directly tied to that terrible story that I told you last week about the three little girls who were at the Taylor Swift dance contest at some dance studio in Southport, England. I believe this was on Wednesday of last week. Just all the parents are there, and the little girls are dancing, the whatever, shake it off. I'm sure it was the cutest damn thing you ever saw. And then some madman busts in and starts stabbing little girls to death. And we know who this madman is. He is a 17-year-old native-born British kid. His parents aren't. His parents are immigrants from Africa, Sudan, or somewhere like that. I don't know. Doesn't matter though, because he's English. He's native-born English, birth certificate, passport, whatever he needs. And here's the other thing: his family is radical. They're radically religious, and they're from Africa. And you know how that is. No, you don't know how that is because they're radical Christians. The father is supposed to be like this incredibly devout Christian dude, and the wife is described as being someone who goes to their church, and the kid was every day, and the kid is described as a freaking choir boy. That is literally how he is described. He's a choir boy. He was in the choir. Apparently, he's a singer. Everybody's like, no, he's just kind of a quiet kid. He seemed to be a talented singer and performer. His family is very Christian, very religious, very active in the local church. And just he snaps and he murders 3 little kids, 9, 7, and 6. I think it's 9, 7, and 6 are the 3 little girls. So this happened last week in Southport. Now, disinformation, being what disinformation was or is, takes hold like wildfire. And there was immediately disinformation put out about who the killer was. It was put out by a number of far right-wing English soccer hooligan, let's burn it all down, we've got bad teeth types. It was put out that this was a Muslim immigrant who had snuck into the country and he's blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this caused on Friday, and we reported this on Friday, a band of hooligans to surround a mosque and start to set it on fire with people inside. Police got involved. Then there were fights. Police were forced to release. They usually don't do this because the kid's only 17 years old, but because of these riots that were breaking out in Southport and then in Liverpool and then in all over the country, like not just in that northwestern Liverpool part of England, if you know what the shape of England looks like. Belfast. Yeah. Edinburgh. The riots are breaking out in towns all over the United Kingdom based on false information that they're attaching to some guy named Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson is apparently like the, head of the British far-right, Nazis weren't that bad, immigrants need to die group, right? That's who this guy is. Apparently, it was his group who put it out there, and now all of these now the anti-racists are out. So, like how I guess in this country we have whenever, racists come out, we got like, is that Black Lives Matter? I don't know, whatever. The anti-racists are now coming out in all the streets, and they're doing battle in the streets with sticks, and they're throwing rocks at each other because the English, they don't got a lot of guns. So, maybe it's best that these people just roll up their sleeves and, slug it out in the streets. But it's all based on misinformation. It is all based on a rumor that was intentionally put out there to create this kind of situation, because this is what the far right in England wants. They want anarchy. They want complete. And if it's a lie that gets their meathead, stupid followers into the streets with their tiki torches and baseball bats, probably cricket bats. Now that I think about it, it's England. They don't have baseball bats. Whatever. Any means to an end, I suppose. So that's what's happening in England. There's like a huge Three's Company style misunderstanding going on, and all hell is breaking loose. Let's talk about the Veep steaks. Veep steaks. Man, now I want a cheesesteak. Anybody else now subliminally think they want a cheesesteak? Because I said Veep steaks. I don't have enough money for cheesesteak. My son says that to me the other day. He goes, you know what you should make? I got my kid for like 3 weeks. He goes, you know what you should make? After I went to the store and did all of our shopping. He goes, you know what I want? You should make? And he tries to flatter me. And you'd probably be really good at this. That's what he says. Fuck you. I'm a good cook. Of course I'd be good at it. I'm good at everything. He goes, you should do, and this is what I'd like, and you'd probably be really good at this. You should make a cheesesteak. And I look at him and I go, you think we live at a 7-Eleven? Where do you think we are? He's like, just go make me a cheese. We don't have the shit for a cheesesteak. What I'm supposed to go get it. It's 8:00 at night on Saturday. I'm not going to the Kroger because you now want a cheesesteak an hour after we just had pork chops and macaroni and cheese, and I didn't like that. No, you want a cheesesteak, and you think I'd be good at making a cheesesteak. Kids are so funny. I mean, what was that, a Hail Mary? He's just sitting there going, I really want a cheesesteak. I wonder if there's any way that I could make a cheesesteak happen. So he turns to me and he goes, you know what I bet you'd be good at? I got a taste for? You should make a cheesesteak. He did. He probably did. For a moment, he probably thought there's about a 15% chance that he's got the shit to make a cheesesteak and that I could be eating a cheesesteak in 40 minutes or so after I bring this up. Didn't work. Anyway, Veep steaks. Let's talk about that. Okay, so on Friday, I guess a video got released, and it was from the mayor of Philadelphia. So here's what's going on. Kamala Harris has got a big rally planned tomorrow in Philadelphia. And the mayor of Philadelphia, apparently, his office, shouldn't say him because it's probably somebody in his office, released a video, a pre-produced video introducing Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro as the vice presidential candidate on the Harris ticket. And it went out. I saw it. You guys probably saw it. It looked legit. I'm like, holy shit. I go, this is the announcement video. This is a real announcement video for Josh Shapiro to be the vice. And then they pulled it back and they said, oh, no, that was something that was made just in case and blah, blah, blah. It was a test. So they walked it all back. But there's a lot of us, and I think Josh Shapiro is her smartest bet too, right? Playing strategist again, putting the hat on. I'm not being partisan. I just think that if Kamala Harris and the Democrats want to win, that guy, Pennsylvania, I think he can do it for them. Why? One, they need Pennsylvania. She's already tied it up in Pennsylvania. Biden was down 5 points in Pennsylvania. She's tied it up. They're in a dead heat, and they got to win Pennsylvania. And I'm telling you, for my money, you had the governor, the popular governor. Shapiro's popular, man. They like him. They like the way he's like, the way he talks and the way he's like, no bullshit. They like him there. That could deliver you Pennsylvania. And I think that's the most important thing that they ought to be looking at. They're fucking around with Tim Walz. Tim Walz might be a nice guy. Seems like a nice dude. He does. He seems like a nice dude. But you don't need Minnesota. Kamala, you got Minnesota already. You don't need Minnesota. I say you stick with a battleground. You stick with and don't get me started with Arizona. Yes, you could win Arizona. That's another one that's now suddenly in play, Arizona, which you don't think it is because all the crazy people there, but they don't really elect the crazy people. Kerry Lake didn't win. They elect Democratic senators in Arizona. So it's not as like crazy and Trumpy as I think we think. So she could win that. She doesn't need a senator astronaut who's only been a senator for a week. I like Mark Kelly. You know how I have great revere for revere. You know how I revere astronauts. So, Mark Kelly's cool by me, but I don't think he delivers anything. I think she's got to go. Those are the three finalists that they're saying, the three finalists. Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona, Governor Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania, and Governor Tim Walz from Minnesota. And by the way, I also always think it's smart, and I told you this on Friday, it's always smart to go with the governor, a head of state, somebody who already has the head of state executive experience, being the end-all, be-all. And that's what a governor has. Senators don't have that. So if your job is to be the vice president and your main responsibility is to be ready to step in as president, I think that's why it always looks better to have a head of state as your vice president. So I think it's going to be Josh Shapiro. This could be announced at any minute. April says Aldi has good deals on frozen shaved steak that you can make a good cheesesteak with. Yeah, I don't know where there's an Aldi. April, can I just time out? All right, let's talk about my skills. Let's talk about my skills as a shopper. Oh my God, I'm so good. Do you guys know that? And this is a Kroger thing. I'm gonna become an expert at the Kroger before I, try Albertsons or whatever, or Tom Thumb, Walmart. Oh God, Walmart is too overwhelming for me. There's too much here. Kroger. Did you know that Kroger has areas, just rando areas where like shit is super cheap, where it like suddenly becomes like a Dollar Tree, where everything's like $1. For instance, I'll give you an example. There is a clearance shelf in every Kroger, and it's in the frozen food section. And if you get there on the right day, oh my God, it's just filled with like awesome shit for like $1. I bought like 5 giant, large size frozen pizzas a couple weeks ago for $1 each. Like name brand. I don't know if they were Red Baron or whatever. Like $1 each. I'm like, yeah, I'll take 5 of these. I bought like a whole bunch of Hungry Man dinners that for some reason were like marked down to $1. And whatever. Discontinued items maybe? I don't know. Still, they got that. And then here's the other thing I get most excited about at every Kroger that I go to. The first thing I do is I look for this. Every Kroger has an abandoned cart. It's just an abandoned cart. If you would walk by it and think, oh, somebody just walked away from their cart. There is an abandoned cart that is actually an Easter egg in the store, and all that shit in that cart is for sale at unbelievably low prices. I got a bag of, what did I get? What was that? But the 2 things of Pringles for like $1. Pringles. I don't know why. Sour cream and onion. Maybe people don't like sour cream and onion. Got 2 of those for $1 each from the cart. Then there's the bakery cart. This is the one that I really love. There is a cart filled with bread and cakes and cookies and brownies and all that shit. And it's all 50% off. All of it. Probably because it's, freshly baked and it's going to go bad. That's okay. My son and I enjoyed a dozen s'more cupcakes over the weekend for $2.20. $2.20 a dozen fresh baked cupcakes. I'm telling you. Don't get me started, April. I gotta go shop. I got my kid for the rest of the week. I gotta go shopping again. So I'm gonna hit all of those areas. What's the other area I like? Oh, I am obsessed. I'm obsessed with Kroger loaded baked potato salad. I don't know if you've here's why. I would never have gotten it normally. I don't usually buy the pre-made salads and stuff at the grocery store. But there is an area over there. There is an area in that frozen food, not frozen food. It's like the fresh made stuff over by the deli. Like if you go over into that area, they got like shit there that I guess they think is going to go bad. And apparently the loaded baked potato salad is like one that every day. So you get like a pound of loaded baked potato salad for $1.60. Sign me up. So I tried it. I have eaten a pound of loaded baked potato salad every day for like the last week. I'm sustained entirely on loaded baked potato salad. Discounted, mind you, loaded baked potato salad from the Kroger. And then don't get me started on the clearance meat. Oh, the clearance meat section where it's like, how'd you like a pound of Nolan Ryan ground beef for $2? Yeah, I'll take that. $2 a pound. It's usually like $5 a pound. I'll take it. It's probably going bad. You're going to want to freeze it right away. Done. Deal. That's fine. The freezer at my house is just filled with meat that was about to go bad, but I got it in the freezer in time. Dude, Frankie B, seriously, once you know about the stray Easter egg stuff, oh my God. That's all you'll do at Kroger now. You'll be looking for the abandoned carts. And here's how you know it's really not someone's cart. They all have special stickers on them. Like the cart is just filled with shit that says 50% off, 50% off, 50% off, 50% off. It's awesome. Now, I'm telling you all this stuff, and I'm sure there's a number of people who shop regularly for their families who are like, pugs, yeah, that's a normal thing. That's like all grocery stores have that. I don't know. I didn't know about it. So I got 4 places I go the minute I walk into the Kroger. Any Kroger, 4 places. I'm looking for the clearance. I'm looking for the clearance meat. I'm looking for the abandoned rando Easter egg carts that they just leave there filled with baked goods and cookies and stuff and chips. All right, where are we? I'm sorry. All right, moving on. All right, Veep Steaks. Maybe today, definitely tomorrow. Oh, that's the other thing. This is the other thing, a reason why I think it's going to be Josh Shapiro. They're doing the announcement in Philadelphia. Doesn't that seem like and if you were doing the announcement in Philadelphia and it was going to be with the governor of Pennsylvania, don't you think the mayor of Philadelphia might be looped in on that? Like the mayor of Philadelphia might know, which is why maybe that thing got released. Although the big story was, right, yesterday at the vice president's residence, Kamala met with the final 3. So she hadn't made up her mind. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm telling you, you're not going to want to do the first big rally where you introduce the vice presidential candidate in Philadelphia after everybody thinks it's going to be Josh Shapiro and then say, ladies and gentlemen, from the great state of Minnesota, it's Tim Walz. I think it's going to be Shapiro. I think it has to be. Frankie Smith says the announcement in Philadelphia, unless it's Fetterman. It's not Fetterman. I'm seeing this by crazy right-wing people. They're going to put fucking Fetterman. It's not Fetterman. He's never even been considered. He's not. It's not going with Fetterman. Stop it. No, it'll be Shapiro. But why is the right obsessed with Fetterman? Frank, why are you guys obsessed with Fetterman? Actually, you know what? He's turned it around for me in the last couple of months. I fucking like that guy now. He seems really no bullshit, and he seems like a true centrist. Now, I guess he's taking shit from the left because, you weren't elected as a centrist. Why are you so central now? I'm like, I don't care. Who knows? He had a stroke or something. Maybe that changed his thinking. Maybe now he's a little bit more rational and in the middle than he was. I don't know, whatever. He still looks like Grimace to me. Is he dressing better? Is he wearing suits yet? Or is that still his whole brand? I look like a slob. I walk like a slob. I don't know. Whatever. He is winning me over, though. He is winning me over. Which, I don't know how hard that is. I didn't really know all that much about him anyway. He's not my senator. He's a senator. We shouldn't know anything we shouldn't give a fuck about the senator from a state we don't live in. But we do because we don't understand how politics anymore. And we root for politics like we root for football teams. Not exactly about the partisan strategy or the policies that are inherent within a given party. No, it's not that anymore. It's just, these guys are my guys. These guys are my guys. We shouldn't know anything about any elected representatives other than the ones we vote for president, our own congressmen, our state senators, our mayor, and our governor. That's it. All right? So if you live here in Texas and you know where fucking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez went to college, you got a fucking problem. You shouldn't know that. That shouldn't be anything that's of interest to you. Although, to be fair, I do know a lot about Matt Gaetz because I just find him so entertaining. Like, his life story is just, so maybe I will cut some slack. All right, here we go. Couple of stories that I feel. Where's the other one? Hold on. What was the second story? I don't know. Oh, hey, how about this? I want to mention this one. So, they're coming for Kamala's family. Did you see the story about her husband, Doug Emhoff? They're coming for him. You can't vote for her because her husband had a bad first marriage. Why don't we apply this to Trump? Why is it like the worst thing that they're coming after this dude, Doug Emhoff, who's married to Kamala? They're coming after him because apparently he cheated on his first wife. Not with Kamala, but he cheated on his first wife. And was she a nanny or something like that? Okay, and they got a divorce. And then he met and started dating and married Kamala. Why is his first marriage have anything to do? See, she's terrible and can't be president because her husband. Look at her husband. This is so petty. And this is what both sides do. One side does it way more, but it is very petty. Who cares? He's the fucking husband of well, I guess we are going to care because he'll be the first gentleman, right? So a first gentleman has to be above reproach. He can't have this kind of history. He can't have an ex-wife who says he cheated on a nanny. I have seen Melania's tits and cooch, okay? So stop it with holding Doug Emhoff to some higher standard like a first gentleman. I have seen the first lady, the former first lady, I've seen her naked. And I may have even pleasured myself. I'm just saying, I have seen her naked. So please stop it with, he can't be, he was married and he cheated on with the nanny. Yeah, so did Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they made him like governor of California like 4 times in a row or some shit. Get over yourself. It's petty. Stop being petty. All right, here's the other thing. This is my big story of the day. I'm so mad about this. This the Daily Mail put this out, and then they were talking about it on the Sunday morning shows. Guys, how long have I been screaming about J.D. Vance wearing eyeliner? I pointed this out. I reposted it yesterday on Twitter. It was like back in May. Back in May was the first time I went, hey, how come nobody's talking about J.D. Vance wearing eyeliner? And I really do think that a lot of you people went, oh, that bugs. He's just kidding. I'm looking at the picture, but it's such an absurd thing to believe that this man could be wearing eyeliner like some emo boy. I wasn't kidding, man. I put the picture up there on Twitter. I took it right off my TV of his big ass eyeliner. It's back in May. This is before he was even the vice president. He's going on TV, and I'm like, why is that conservative right-wing MAGA dude wearing eyeliner? That seems a little bit weird. So anyway, apparently, J.D. Vance wears eyeliner. Thank you. It's been confirmed. Who's confirming that? A dude who does his pictures. This is why it's taken off. Because his former photographer, who does his close-up pictures and all that kind of stuff, apparently had a falling out and is no longer there. And he sold a story to the Daily Mail where he's got pictures and he's got all kinds of before and after things proving that J.D. Vance wears eyeliner. J.D. Vance is hit with bizarre rumor about his face after accused of having sex with a sofa. Can you see? Blah, blah, blah. All right, so let me address that. J.D. Vance was accused of having sex with a sofa in his grandmother's house. He was accused of that because somebody put out a tweet. Let me talk about disinformation. Somebody put out a tweet that said, in J.D. Vance's book, Hillbilly Elegy, he writes about the time as a teen where he would masturbate and ejaculate into the couch cushions. Person put that out on Twitter. And because that person put from his book, and nobody fucking reads books, nobody checked, and nobody knew that it wasn't true. He never wrote that in his book. That was never in his book. But somebody said it was in his book, and so everybody went, well, it was in his book. Did you read the book? But yeah, I read it. No, you didn't. Nobody reads books anymore. That's how easy it is. Just say it was in a book, and people will be like, well, I'm not going to read the book, but I'm going to go with what this person says. This person obviously seems like a smart person who reads books. So he didn't fuck a couch, okay? That was completely made up, just like Marie Antoinette saying, let them eat cake, just like Catherine the Great dying while fucking a horse. Made up, but it doesn't matter. 50 years after J.D. Vance is dead, somebody's going to go, yeah, I think there was like a story about how he fucked a couch. Doesn't matter. It's now out there. What is true, what is absolutely true, is the eyeliner. He is wearing eyeliner. And you must ask yourself, why? Why is this man who is about to be second in control of the alpha male army, why is he out there? Does he want his little blue eyes to pop? Is that what's going on with him? Internet sleuths, I love this. Internet sleuths have claimed that Donald Trump's vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance, loves to wear eyeliner. You mean me? Couldn't you say Pugs Moran from RadioMisfits.com who streams everything? You couldn't do all that? Well, no, of course you couldn't do all that. So you're just going to call me a sleuth. I think I'm the first, and I think I'm the only one until this guy decided to out him. Nobody else was talking about this. Hell, my original post got like no hits, no likes, no nothing. But there it is from May. Me going, why is he wearing... Internet sleuths have claimed that Donald Trump's vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance, wears eyeliner. The Hillbilly Elegy author, who turned 40 on Friday, has been accused of donning a fine line of black makeup to make his eyes look bluer. Multiple photos shared online claimed to provide evidence that Vance is a fan of eyeliner, which is commonly worn by women. It says here, yes. What kind of panties you wearing? Oh, hey, JD, look, enough about the eyeliner. I'm going to need you to drop your drawers. I'm going to need to see what you're wearing. Photojournalist, this is the person who took his pictures. Photojournalist Zach Roberts claimed to have definitive proof, writing, I really thought people were joking about this. No, I wasn't joking about this. I'm the person he's talking about. I was not joking about it. I really thought people were joking about this, but then I photographed him just last week. Vance 100% does wear eyeliner. And then they show all of these pictures, and he's got pictures. Suppose I could pull it up. You can go find it yourself. No, we'll pull it up. Yeah, we'll show the pictures. I'm sorry, I'm just not sure how to do this without being in the studio. We'll get it. I know I'm having a little bit of fun with this because we all enjoy emo rockers who wear eyeliners, but I don't want them to be a heartbeat away from the presidency. I don't think this is a normal thing. I don't think regular dudes, I don't think normal, logical thinking dudes wear eyeliner. You know what kind of dudes wear eyeliner? Guys that are like, they're uncomfortable with who they are. They're trying. A 40-year-old conservative politician is wearing eyeliner. I don't know how I do that. I don't know how I process that. That's weird. It's just, no, it's creepy. That's what it is. It's creepy. All right, let me show you these pictures. So here he's got a bunch of pictures of them. Surprised they didn't just steal my original picture from May. All right, here you go. Let's see his pretty eyes. Here we go. Bump, 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 bump. All right. Why is it not sharing? There. Okay, there he is. Look at the page. It's going crazy. All right, hold on. Yes. All right. I would say that he is wearing eyeliner here. Okay, the top one right there. He's wearing the pretty eye. Look, oh my God. Look at how pretty the bottoms are. He's doing his lashes too. Does he sit in front of a mirror? Come on, man. Good Lord. Can you imagine if Pete Buttigieg wore mascara? Could you imagine if Pete Buttigieg wore mascara? What would you people say about that? No, but this guy, it's totally fine. Disregard. Don't pay any attention to the grown-ass man wearing chick makeup, wearing eyeliner. All right, what do we got here? Oh, here's one. Oh, this one. This is the one right here. I think this one was like my picture. Fuck, what happened? What happened? Why did that page jump out? All right. Hold on. I hate these British news sites. They're just so full of pop-ups and bullshit. Ugh. All right, never mind. That's it. We're done with this story. I apologize. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't fight with this. Anyway, I feel like I've been vindicated. I feel like JD Vance is wearing mascara. I think other people are noticing it, and I am the first person who said it, and I would like credit. Another thing that I would like credit for, I pretend like I'm a political strategist, right? I sit here and I go, look, I'm just telling you, if I was in that room, here's what I would tell them. Here's another example of me knowing what was going to happen before it actually happened. I said last week, and it may have even been earlier than that. I said last week when they were using weird, remember when weird was a thing? It's like the Democrats decided that they were going to use weird as a way to describe J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, and MAGA in general, just calling them weird. And I was like, oh, okay. Now that was, you have to understand, that was in response. The Republicans, they started it. It was the RNC. It was the thing that Lara Trump is now in charge of. They put out the first tweet where they said that Kamala Harris is just too darn weird to be president. So it was the Republicans who wanted their narrative attack to be to paint them as weirdos. They're weirdos, which is such beautiful use of projection. It got turned around on them. It immediately got turned around. They're like, yeah, Kamala's weird. And then everybody went, can we talk about J.D. Vance? Can we talk about Donald Trump and his spray-on orange tan and his blonde hair? Come on, let's not. So it backfired on him. And then it started to take on a life of its own. It became a thing. The MAGA is weird. J.D. Vance is weird. He's weird. He's weird. Cat ladies, he's weird. All of that. It became a thing. And I said a week ago, I go, no. You got to change this up. Don't let weird catch on. Because weird is not bad. Weird is actually kind of cool often. Weird is fun. You can have fun being weird. It's not weird. I suggested that they start using creepy. It's creepy. It's not weird. There is a difference in these two words and the way people process hearing these two words. Creepy is something that you're not going to go near. Weird is something that weird guy at the party was fun, right? So there's a difference there. Now, I said this like a week ago, and I'm really serious about it because I do think that words matter. Well, now the Dems themselves are putting it out there in their bullet points. They're not saying weird anymore. They're saying creepy. And it was James Carville, who I think on Saturday put out something on Saturday, sort of a call to arms to all Democratic operatives and strategists. Please, please, please don't use weird. He said the same thing that I did. He said, don't use weird, use creepy. Weird is kind of cool. I'm weird. And Carville is weird. So he was like the perfect messenger. He's really weird. He might even be creepy. But point stands. He's like, I'm weird. I don't think we should use weird. Hell, weird is fun. What they are is creepy. And I'm like, again, first the eyeliner, I point that out. Now months later, I'm getting credit for it. Or I'm getting no credit for it, but everybody else is going to eyeliner. Second thing, weird versus creepy. The Dems, it'll be a more effective narrative if the word is creepy than if the word is weird. All right, moving on. What else do we have here? Let's see. Oh, RFK Jr. killed a bear. We got to talk about this. Guys, I got to get out of here right at 2 o'clock. So I'm sorry if we're rushing. And I do so appreciate you guys hanging out with me today in the lobby. A lobby show. This won't happen again. I'm gonna hide a key, so it won't happen again. RFK Jr. killed a bear. Did you see this video? Again, I'd love to share this video, but I just can't today. Limited production. RFK Jr. A video was released yesterday. It's such a weird video. Again, weird fun. See, this isn't a creepy video. This is a weird video. A weird video was released yesterday of RFK Jr. sitting in what I believe to be his kitchen. He seemed awful comfortable. Sitting in his kitchen talking to Roseanne Barr while Cheryl Hines, a.k.a. Cheryl David from Curb Your Enthusiasm, is just walking around in the background. I think at some point she's bouncing a baby. Anyway. RFK Jr. in this video sitting around in his kitchen talking to Roseanne Barr, I don't know what she's doing there. He starts telling a story about how in his earlier days when he was more radical and some of the things that he had done, and he told a story about how while driving from upstate New York, a person in front of him had accidentally hit a bear with her car. This person drove off, and he, RFK Jr., pulled over, saw that the bear was dead, opened up his trunk, and put the bear in the trunk. Now, he was driving into New York City, Robert Kennedy Jr. He's driving into New York City to have dinner, and I believe he said Peter Luger's. I believe he actually name-checked the restaurant. So he's driving into New York City with this dead bear now in the trunk of his car, and he has dinner, and again, this is in the days when he freely admits that he was drinking and partying and all that kind of stuff, although he claims in the video that he wasn't. He says, everybody I was with was messed up. He's claiming that he wasn't, but come on, he's a Kennedy. He says that after dinner, he had to go to the airport. He had to fly out. But he remembered that he had this bear, this dead bear in the trunk of his car, and he couldn't, just leave the dead bear in the trunk of the car at the airport because, first, maggots. I don't know, smells, something. That probably wouldn't be good. So his friends and he came up with an idea. They were environmentalists. He was an environmental lawyer there. He was an environmental activist and environmental lawyer. They came up with this plan to take the dead bear and put him in Central Park and then claim that the bear was killed in Central Park by bike riders, because a big environmental crusade back then in New York City was to eliminate the bike lanes, because they thought the bike lanes were taking away from, what if birds want to land there, or whatever the hell it is. It's a city, a goddamn city of 20 million people. All right, let's focus on them and not the birds. I don't care that the bird wants to land there. There's a stockbroker from Wall Street who would like to ride his bike there. Anyway, his idea was to leave the bear in Central Park and then have the story come out that some bikers must have killed the bear. And here's my question. This is on the video where he's telling this story to Roseanne Barr. So that's the story of Robert Kennedy Jr. and the bear. But here's my question. And this is the first thing I thought when he's telling this story. And why didn't Roseanne Barr say this? Is Roseanne Barr just stupid? Why did nobody in that room ask this question? Because when he said And I took the bear out of the trunk and I put him there in Central Park, and I wanted the authorities to believe that the bear had been killed in a collision with a biker. And they're all like, eh. Why didn't Roseanne say, there aren't bears in Central Park? Wouldn't that be the story? The story wouldn't be that the environmentalists were right and that the bike paths are really taking a chunk out of Mother Nature. That's not what they'd say. People would say, where'd the fucking bear come from in Central Park? There ain't bears in Central Park. Anyway, so today he's playing defense on that because everybody's like, you killed a bear. And he's like, I didn't kill a bear. And then people are like, is that where the brainworms came from? And he's like, yeah, maybe that's where the brainworms came from. Remember that story? Remember when he admitted he had brainworms? Yeah. Well, he admitted today that maybe that's where the brainworms come from. And I say admitted, but I think I'm fairly certain he was kidding. I think he was. But anyway, there you have it. That's the RFK Jr. killed a bear story. Again, I want to know. I got 3 questions. 1, who's that kid that Cheryl David seems to be throwing up in the air behind? 2, why is Roseanne there? 3, why didn't anybody ask RFK Jr. how he thought to get around the idea that there aren't bears in Central Park? I know, it makes no sense. Anyway, okay, so that's the RFK Jr. one. I was going to show you the video, but again, the sound will be weird because of where we are. Let's check in with the Olympics. You watching the Olympics? Let's check in with the medal count, okay? Now, when we last left the medal count on Friday, America was running away with the total medals. And as I say, America is the best at not quite being the best. We had the most silvers, we had the most bronze, and it wasn't even close. Total medals, the United States is running away with it. But China, we had some problems with China because China was winning the gold medal race. China had more gold medals than us. And we're like, But what did I say? I said, wait till track and field. As soon as track and fields get started, we're going to even this up. And guess what? Let's look here. No, refresh. Did they go back up? Hold on. Oh, wait, I need this to refresh. I need my medal count to refresh. You guys, when we started the show today, America had overtaken China in the medal count. And now, during the course of the show, China has now overtaken America in the gold medal count. All right, so right now, currently, this is what I have. China has 21 gold medals as of right now. The United States has 19 gold medals. China has 52 overall medals. The United States, 75. So we are crushing it at not quite being the best. That is what our takeaway should be from this Olympics. If we don't win I'm an American. I am an American. I expect to win. I don't give a shit about total medals. What if everybody won a bronze? And then you're like, we dominated the medal count because everybody on our team was the 3rd best in their sport. That's not good. It's cool that you can be 3rd best, but you got to be the best at something. We need to win the gold medal count. And right now it's China. Australia is in 3rd place. France is in 12th. Good for them. I'm happy France is in. France has 12. France is in 4th. Yeah. China 1 with 21. The United States 2 with 19. Australia 3 with 13. These are gold medals. It's the only one I care about. France is 4th with 12. Great Britain is 5th with 11. And I don't know what I'm looking at here. Korea. It just says KOR. Is that the good one or the bad one? What's the bad one? What would the abbreviation for the bad one be? People's repeat. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, there you have it. That's our medal count. What else do we have? Zac Efron got rushed to a hospital. Apparently, he was over in Europe there. He's hanging out and being a playboy because he's Zac Efron. Probably don't know any movies going on. Is he famous still? I don't know. He's got money. He's good looking. He's young. They pulled him out of a swimming pool, and he was rushed to the hospital. Turns out, I guess he's okay. That's all I have on Okay, one last thing here. Okay, this will be the last one, and then I got to jump off for today's show. Thank you so much. Once again, I want to thank April for being the executive producer of today's show. We're bringing that back because we're in Pledge Week. We're trying to raise as much as we can, help out the show if you are so inclined. This show needs your gratuities. Tip us like I'm your bartender, your pizza guy, whatever it is. Help us out. The last one I want to do here is Saturday Night Live announced another cast departure. On Friday, we told you about Punky Johnson leaving the show. Oh, China. Yeah, Jameson's right there. He's like, China's winning again. Yeah, apparently it's going back and forth. That's okay. That's okay. By the way, did you see that 100-meter men's? That was awesome. It was like a butterfly wing flutter difference between the fastest man on the planet and second place. It was like one millionth of a second, whatever it was. That was pretty cool. And even the announcers got it wrong. They're like, no, the other guy won. I'm saying, no. Lead with your chest. Hey, runners, just a little pro tip from me, a guy who's never run. Lead with your chest. That's what they say. You lead with your chest. That's why he won. That's why he's now the fastest man in the world, because he hit the rope leading with his chest. Punky Johnson left Saturday Night Live on Friday, saying that she was done. No hard feelings. She's going to move on. She's going to do some other things. And now we've got another cast member who has left, and this is historic. They're saying this is historic. No, actually, both are historic. Listen to this. I don't want to read this article because it'll trigger so many of you. It doesn't trigger me because I'm not a snowflake, but some of you it'll trigger. It is an article about Saturday Night Live has lost two historic castmates. All right, Punky Johnson. She's not historic. I can't even remember one thing that she did. She was on the show for a couple of years. She's totally forgettable. But apparently, she's black and lesbian, which makes her historic because she's only the second black lesbian on set. Seriously, it says that in this article, that she's historic because she's the second black lesbian ever on the show. Well, this comes to today's departure, who is also mentioned in this article as being a historic loss for Saturday Night Live. Molly Kearney. Molly Kearney is leaving Saturday Night Live. I'll give you a moment to try and jog your memory as to who Molly Kearney is. She's historic. She's historic. And Saturday Night Live cannot lose both the second black lesbian in show history and the very first gender fluid cast member. Molly Kearney, that chick, she's apparently gender fluid. And then the article goes on, they will be missed. And I'm like, do you mean, when you say they, do you mean just Molly? Or do you mean like Molly and, how does that work? How does that, Molly and Punky, like that kind of they? Or is it like just Molly will be missed? Because I got to tell you, I know who Molly Kearney is because I've seen every episode. She is even less important than Punky Johnson. She like did nothing. And I didn't even know she was trans or gender fluid, right? That's where you're not really claiming anything. That's interesting because she always played women. She always played women. I don't, I always just thought she was a woman. Her name is Molly too. Her name is Molly. She always played women. She looks like a woman. I mean, she's a heavyset woman. She's I always thought she was kind of like, oh, look, they got a Melissa McCarthy type, right? That's what I thought she was. But no, she's historic. She was terrible on the show. Let's be honest. Historic, why? Because she's the first gender fluid? I didn't know that. I don't know anybody else knew that. And Punky Johnson is historic? Why? Because she's the second black lesbian? Who named the first black lesbian on Saturday Night Live? Okay, I will. Denitra Vance. She was the first. You don't even remember Denitra Vance. Don't take any thunder away from Denitra Vance. She was the first black lesbian on Saturday Night Live. Stop giving credit. You don't even know Denitra Vance's name, and you're going out of your way. You're doing gymnastics to try and find a historical precedent for Punky Johnson and Molly Kearney, and you're embarrassing yourself. Anyway, both of them are gone from Saturday Night Live. You know who else is gone from Saturday Night Live? Me. That made no sense. That was part of the stream of consciousness off the top of my head. That made no sense. Guys, I got to go. I got to do a meeting here in a couple of minutes. Rob Barr says on both accounts. Who? What? Molly, I have no idea. Yeah, I don't either. All right, April, breaking news. Look at this. April says, breaking news: 2 rockets have hit an Iraq airbase that houses U.S. soldiers. Well, that is very big breaking news. That is, especially considering what's happening right now with Iran and where are these? Do we know where these? Jameson Minkoff would like to point out that, yeah, I didn't mention this. The reason I was going so hard for you to remember Denitra Vance is because she's dead. She's dead. She's been dead a long time, and nobody remembers her. But we're going to bend over backwards to try and give Punky Johnson accolades for being the second black lesbian on Saturday Night Live. No, the late Denitra Vance, who also, if I'm being honest, is not really a memorable character or personality. No, I mean, I can't. I don't know what. I couldn't name one thing that Denitra Vance did on Saturday Night Live in the late 80s, but I knew she was a black lesbian, so she will always have that, except for Punky Johnson trying to horn in on it. Okay, I need to be focused on the Iraqi, or 2 rockets have hit an Iraq airbase that houses U.S. soldiers. Where did these rockets come from? That's question 1, right? And is this at all related to a larger retaliation on the part of the Iranians for what happened with Israel last week? Israel attacked a compound housing Hamas's political leader inside Iraq, violating an act of war. The supreme leader of Iran said there would be retaliation. The whole world has been waiting for the last 12 hours for this to start. I did not think that it would start by American soldiers being killed, because what that says, if the opening salvo on Iran's part was to attack the United States and specifically kill American soldiers, we're at war, folks. We're at war. We are at war. Do you think that's how they end it? They're like, yeah, we're just going to do one thing. No, they're probably launching a nuke right now for Tel Aviv. That is very concerning, and I know nothing about it. So I'm going to need to see what I can learn. I'm not seeing that story. I'm not seeing that story. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Rob says no one was hurt. Okay, that's why I'm not seeing this story. All right, guys, that's it. I got to go. Please help the show out with a tip. We are very desperate on this day. I thank you so much for putting up with this bare bones version of the show, but it was fun. I wanted to know if I had to, could I just take this and do the show on the road remotely somewhere? And I think we figured out that there is a way to do it. April says Reuters. All right, I'll find my information on what's happening right now with that Iraqi air base housing U.S. soldiers that apparently was just hit by missiles. Where did they come from? Where did they come from? Because it's Iraq. It could just be Iraqi insurgents. There are still Iraqi insurgents. It doesn't have to be directly tied to the Iran and Israel situation. In fact, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just, or maybe they're all working together. And this is the distraction. This is the, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Guys, we got to be done. All right. I love y'all. We'll talk. I'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow. Okay. Appreciate you. I don't know how to sign off like this. We're in a totally different studio. I guess I just do this. Okay. Bye.